Hello. This is not the video I planned on posting this week, but I'm sure you all are aware of the wildfires happening here in Los Angeles at the moment. It has been like nothing I've ever seen or experienced in my life. And if I'm being completely honest with you, I'm trying not to lose my mind. It feels almost apocalyptic in a strange way. It feels similar to when we were in quarantine, but instead mass devastation and destruction throughout parts of the city. The fire that got closest to me was the Hollywood Hills fire, and that was incredibly scary. Incredibly scary. Watching it unfold from my rooftop, as close as it was, my mind immediately went to the worst case scenario. Luckily, I have a small but mighty support system here in LA. Also was just really overwhelmed with my family and loved ones on the East Coast calling me, texting me, worried about me, that I was like, okay, I need to pack a light bag and get as far away from this current situation as I can. And thankfully, my friend, one of my closest friends who I grew up with in New York, lives in a nearby neighborhood and welcomed me with open arms to her place. So I stayed there for the night, and it was one of those feelings where I was seeing the way things were unfolding in these other parts of the city that I wasn't sure I was going to come back home to see my apartment still standing. You never know how these things are going to escalate overnight or multiply overnight. There's just no way to determine the trajectory of certain weather events, specifically a wildfire. So even though I live a significant amount of blocks away from the Hollywood Hills fire, the evacuation zone was still extended to my neighborhood, and that was enough for me to see, to be like, okay, it's time to go, because I didn't want to be stranded. I don't drive at present, and usually I'm renting a car, but I didn't have one this week, and I didn't want to be stuck trying to get a Uber or Lyft and they couldn't get into my area due to the evacuation order, or because everyone is just like scrambling, you know? And I had already decided that when making my 2025 intentions that a car was top of the list. Just get it out the way, stop renting, and just buy a car. And this event further solidified why I definitely need one ASAP if I'm to stay here, you know, and live here, and I want to. This is my home away from home, my new home, and this is where I want to be. So I'm like, okay, I need to be able to have what I need for security purposes, for travel purposes, for emergency purposes, you know. But thankfully, I was able to come home the next day, and you'll hear helicopters. They're like just going. That's all you hear is helicopters and planes flying over and sirens. I was able to come home the next morning. Thankfully, my apartment was still standing, but immediately after getting out of the Uber, it looked like it was snowing. It was soot, debris, and ash just flying around. And I was like, okay, I need to go inside and dig out my N95 mask immediately. Thankfully, I had some on hand. I knew I needed to run to the supermarket to just grab any last minute items that I needed, because I was like, I'm not leaving the house for the next couple of days. The air quality is super hazardous. It's not safe. So I'm gonna stay in. And that's what I did. I've been inside for the last 3 days. I literally just I stepped outside to my rooftop to let the sun just shine on my face a bit and to get a little bit of air. But you can see little particles in the air that I was like, okay, let me get inside. My nerves have been completely in shambles. It almost feels like waiting for the other shoe to drop. And because these things are so unpredictable, and as of this morning, the LAFD, which shout out to them, they are some of the bravest of the brave, and just putting their lives on the line, just doing the best that they could possibly do to get this situation under control as much as humanly possible. As of this morning, I saw saw that they were trying to prevent a fire from going over a ridge into the Brentwood area. That's still ongoing, and I, like everyone else, is hoping that they're able to extinguish the fire and get it out before it has the potential to do serious damage. There are parts specifically in Eden and the Palisades, which was the largest one to my understanding, with Eaton County and Altadena being the second largest of the 4 or 5 fires that started. There are communities that have been completely wiped out. There are neighborhoods that have been leveled. It's heartbreaking. It's so heartbreaking. There's people whose lives were claimed in the fires. People have lost their homes, businesses. One that comes to mind is Moon Shadows, which I loved in Malibu, and it's gone. It's heart-wrenching to watch unfold. And honestly, it's taken a really big mental toll on, I think I speak for everyone here in Los Angeles, no matter where they live, that we all feel this sense of grief and this sense of uncertainty, and like we're living life on the edge of our seats, staying close to our phones and trying to stay tapped in, which I think is an art form, to remain informed but not inundated, because I know that I've been suffering from information overload. It's hard not to pick up the phone and check for updates, or I typically put my phone on D&D before bedtime and keep my ring on silent, and I haven't been able to do that in the last couple of days, because if something is happening within my vicinity and someone tries to call me, I want them to be able to wake me up out of my sleep. And so from that perspective, it's like it's hard to really sleep sound at night, and it's taken a huge mental toll on me and on the people in this city. So some of the ways that I've been trying to keep my mind somewhat balanced to the best of my ability and not spiral, I'll immediately seek one of these anecdotes, which is reading a few chapters in a book, cooking, cleaning, running through my list of things to do, anything that I'm able to do from home. I've also been staying on top of places to donate. I'm putting together a bag to donate whatever I can. I'm looking into volunteer opportunities around the city and just trying to stay positive. That's all we can do. And these are the only ways I can not feel helpless, you know? As I stated earlier, this was not the video that I planned on posting this weekend, but it didn't feel right posting anything else. Like, this is what's going on. This is where I'm at. This is what I'm feeling. This is what's going on around me. And I'm authentic in everything that I post on any platform. So yeah, that is the state of affairs. This is what's happening. It's incredibly disheartening, unsettling, and heartbreaking. I've loved this city before I ever visited this city, and I've grown to have such close ties to Los Angeles. So it's tough. It really is. But I'm gonna help in any way that I can to help build and restore in any way possible. And to any one of you that might have been affected by this or have loved ones that were affected, please know my heart is with you. My inbox is always open. I'm happy to support in any way that I can. I will also put some resources down in the description for those in need of aid or support, and also for those who may want to get involved and contribute in some way. So yeah, that's all I got for now. I'm trying to get a handle on my mental health and be as tapped in as I can be and be as present as I can be at this time, all while life is playing in the background. I think something that's throwing us all for a loop is that we're only 11 days into the new year, and this was not on any of our bingo cards. Yeah. I love you guys. If you made it to the end of this video, I appreciate you, and feel free to reach out either in the comments below, by email, or DM me on Instagram. I'm always open for a side chat. I truly hope things will only get better from here. To anyone who's reached out to check in, thank you so much. You are so loved and appreciated, and I'll see you guys in the next one.